People think my knees are screwed up from running too much. Nah, man, they don't get it. I wasn't born with some superhuman body, some perfect alignment. None of that thing. I got sickle cell. I've had health issues from the jump. So when people want to blame the running, they're wrong. I had a choice early on, sit my ass down and complain about everything that hurts, or figure out how far I could push my body, how far I could go past the pain. And let me tell you, when I dove deep into my mind and started unlocking what I could do, my mind got harder than steel. Yeah, my knees hurt like a motherfucker, but I've been feeling that pain so damn long, it became my normal. I was like, okay, the knees hurt, so what? Fuck your feelings. I had to catch myself from whining and feeling sorry for my ass. That's the key right there. You got to ignore your feelings sometimes. I made a decision to be the best version of myself no matter what. So yeah, every morning I wake up and tell myself, fuck your feelings. It's not about ignoring them completely, but you got to push past that bullshit. My knees were shot, but I still wanted to run. I knew knee replacements were in my future, but it wasn't cause I ran too much. People love to say, don't run like David Goggins or you'll end up broken. Nah, man, it's not the running. They just don't understand the grind. You got to study the darkness. No one finds real answers in the light where everything's all nice and pretty. Life's not about living in happiness 24/7. That shit's easy when it comes. But the dark times, that's where the real growth happens. When life slams you into the fucking ground, that's when you get tested. People ask me, how do you write like this, man? It's because I've lived in the darkness. I've studied it, embraced it. And it's not just physical, it's mental. Growing up, I saw my mom getting beat. I got beat. I was this stuttering black kid in an all-white school, standing on stage trying to say one fucking line in front of 15 people. And I walked off feeling destroyed because I couldn't even get through it. All those insecurities, all that pain, it was crushing me. I used to go home and cry thinking, how the hell am I going to survive this? But as I got older, I learned the only way to get through this shit is to study it, to own it. So every time I'm in a dark place, whether it's life beating me down or my body giving out, I grab a pen and paper. I dive in deep. This sucks. I feel like I'm losing my shit. Good. Let's study it. Let's see how much more I can take. That's where you find out who the fuck you really are. You can't fit discipline into your life if your head's a cluttered mess. You can't fit structure, consistency, the grind. None of that shit fits when your mental garage is full of junk. I reached a point where I realized this is life, man. You got to move the fuck on. So when people ask me, David, what are you going to do if you can't run anymore? I don't waste time crying about it. I'll swim, I'll hit the gym, I'll go to school, I'll do something. Running ain't my whole damn life. I know how quick life can take shit from you, so I've always prepared my mind for the next chapter. What I did was front load my life. Back when I was younger, I was a lazy, weak piece of shit. I kept telling myself, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, I can't do that. But once I pulled my head out of my ass, I realized something: you can achieve a lot of shit if you stop being a little bitch and get off your ass. So I started front loading. I knew I had to put in the work before life came for me. When I'm in a bad spot, I don't just sit there crying about it. I study it. That's why I do half the crazy shit I do, because I'm learning from it. I never thought I'd be out here writing books or motivating people to get better. But I'm doing it because I've been to the bottom and I knew I sucked. And when you know you suck, you start taking mental snapshots of everything around you. Most people take a picture on their phone, but I do that shit in my mind. Every painful moment, every struggle, I snapshot it. I know I'm going to need it later. People think when I'm out there running, I'm enjoying the view. Hell no. My body hurts like a motherfucker. I'm not out there for fun. I'm in my lab. That's my mental lab. So when I get home, I don't forget any of it. Every run, every workout, every challenge, I'm studying that shit. And that's how I wrote my book. I come home after a run, grab a piece of paper, and write it all down by hand. Every thought, every painful step. As I'm running, I'm breaking shit down in my head. I'm not just thinking, oh, that happened. No, I'm digging deeper. What led up to that? Why did it happen? What's the lesson here? It's like I'm in school, but I'm the teacher, the student, and the lesson all wrapped into one. Every day I'm learning. I come home, write it out, think about it, and I know this is going to help me later. That's how this became what it is now. That's the grind, man. It's not about looking at the fucking mountains. It's about turning your pain into progress, turning your failures into fuel. You got to be in the lab every single day studying the shit out of your life, or you'll never grow. I've done a ton of shit outside the military. I've made my money. I've crushed some of the hardest races in the world. I've broken pull-up records. I've done it all. So when tough times hit, I'm ready. And here's the thing, bust your ass now so you can actually enjoy life later. You might not make it to old age, but what if you do? You want to look back knowing you gave it everything you had. You got up early, you grinded when you could. If you front load the work, the back half of your fucking life is golden. That's what I did. You got to be open to the possibility that you can do it. The second you shut your mind down and start thinking it's impossible, you're done. That's why I get fired up, because I know if you're in a fight, you got to attack, man. You got to keep attacking. You got to let the enemy know you're not backing down ever. You have to break the soul of whatever the fuck is in front of you. And that's what I realized. I wasn't breaking shit. I wasn't going hard enough. So I started figuring out ways to break the soul of anything in my path, whether it was a human, a challenge, or life itself. If you keep attacking relentlessly, nothing wants to stand in front of you. Nothing. Take pride in that. There's a special kind of power in knowing no one wants to be where you are. No one wants that smoke. It should light a fire in you. There's something weird and primal about it. When you're in the worst situation imaginable and everyone else is begging for it to end, that's when you take over. Time slows down and you see it, you feel it. Everyone's got that look on their face like, fuck, I don't want to be here anymore. That's your moment. I started playing mind games with myself. I'd be like, I bet these motherfuckers are looking at me right now, comparing themselves to when they went through this shit. They're probably thinking I was tougher than Goggins. Nah, fuck that man. Don't let anyone tell you how to feel. It's day one, motherfucker. This is just hour one. So I'd hype myself up and think, we're going to take their fucking souls. When we were doing something simple that was breaking other guys, I look at the instructors' faces and I could see we had them. We were in their heads. I turned to my guys and said, we own space in their minds now. They're going to think about us tonight. We started feeding off that energy. It only takes 1 second to snatch someone's soul. And once you do that, you've got all the power. You see it in someone's eyes when you break them. That's when you know I can keep going all day long. That's what taking souls is all about. Dominate mentally, and the body follows. You think this shit is easy? Hell no. When you're busted, broken down, and got nothing left in the tank, that's where the real test begins. It ain't about feeling good. It's about having the will, the heart, and the courage to go further when you're already jacked up. When you've hit the wall, you got to look that pain dead in the face and say, fuck you, I've got more. Another early morning, another day where you face a choice. You can stay in bed, be soft, say, fuck it, I ain't grinding today. Or you can get your ass up and get after it. Every single day, you got that choice. Today ain't special. It's just another day with the same damn question. Are you going to show up or tap out? I'm putting my shoes on at the crack of dawn when most people are still hugging their pillow. That's the choice I make. You got to make yours. I'm a big believer in doing shit that sucks. Every fucking day. Why? Because it builds that callous mind. Every time you think you've reached your limit, you're just scratching the surface of what you're capable of. You think going easy on yourself will make you great? Fuck no, mediocrity is a sneaky bitch. The second you ease up, it slips in and gets comfortable. But when you push through that comfort, when you pull mediocrity into the mud, that's when greatness shows up. So get the fuck out there and get it done. There's a storm coming. So what? Somebody says, let's do it tomorrow. That's when you take the soul. I told him straight up, motherfucker, I'm running 15 today. And I'll run through that storm again tomorrow. That's what taking souls is. Don't give a damn about the weather, the circumstances, or anything else. You get out there and handle your business. I was the only one out there today. And you know what? That's exactly what I did. If you want to get better, do the shit that nobody else is willing to do. The shit that makes everyone else quit. At the end of the day, hard work alone ain't enough. You got to learn how to thrive in misery. When everybody else is whining, bitching, and feeling sorry for themselves, that's where I fucking shine. I figured out how to turn that misery into fuel. When people see you pushing through the shit, they start saying, damn, Goggins is still going. Let me get my shit together. That's when you lead. Misery is where you find your strength. It's where you turn weakness into power. Most people think they're working hard, but they're not. They wake up early a few days and act like they've been to war. Nah, man. You're still soft. You ain't done shit yet. Drop that entitled mindset and put in the real work. And when you think you've hit your limit, there's still more left. Learn to count on yourself. Don't wait for someone else to drag you along. The mind is a medieval motherfucker. It shows up every time, right on schedule, ready to fuck with you. It knows your fears, your doubts, your insecurities. It knows all your weak points. The mind is your toughest enemy, and it's always coming for you. You better be ready for war, because that fight never ends. Stay savage, stay hard, man. You ever been around those dumb fucking instructors, thinking they're hot shit, smiling and relaxed like they know how to break you? But I'm the one who takes their souls. Here's the deal when people hit that wall, when they're hoping the pain will stop, hoping the instructors will quit running, hoping the water isn't freezing, that's when they crumble. I see their heads drop, their mouths shut, and I know I've got them. They're living off hope, and hope is for the weak. I don't hope for shit. I wish the water's cold as hell. I wish those motherfuckers keep running. I wish the storm comes in and turns the whole thing into a war zone, because that's where I thrive. I don't need a finish line. I don't need to know how far I've got to go. That's how you stay hard, man. Most people fail in life because they're scared of what everyone else is thinking. That's real talk. That's the 100% truth. We walk around putting other people on a pedestal thinking they're better than us. And that's why we shut the fuck up. We don't talk about what's inside because we're afraid of judgment. And that shit weighs on you, makes you feel small. I used to think everybody was better than me. I wouldn't say a damn thing about what I was going through because I didn't want to feel worse about myself. But here's the thing, man, you've always got to be ready. Life doesn't give a fuck about your plans. Challenges come out of nowhere. Most people need some special event, some big moment to get motivated. Not me. I stay ready because I know the next test could drop in at any second. I'm out here minding my own business, knocking out pull-ups. Some dude wants to jump in and see how far I can go. After 30 minutes, he's looking at me like, we're almost done, right? We hit an hour, and he asks, how many can you do? I tell him, one more than you, motherfucker. That's the mindset. Always be ready, stay hard. Your mind is always waiting to fuck with you. It knows every single weakness you've got. It knows where your fear lies, where your insecurities hide. I want to quit every damn day, but I don't. So many dreams die in the middle of suffering. I'm not just talking physical pain, there's emotional and spiritual suffering too. Relationships, failures, loss, whatever it is. It makes people give up on what they want most. When I was in pararescue training, I wanted it more than anything. But that water, man, it haunted me. When the pain got too much, I let my dream die and almost went down with it. If I hadn't found the Navy SEALs, if I hadn't faced my demons head on every single day, I wouldn't be here. Let me tell you something, you can't outrun your demons. They'll find you every single time. You got to stand your ground and face that shit. And listen, don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done. I had to redefine what it means to be a man, to be tough. I had this idea in my head of who I was supposed to be, and I wasn't living up to it. I looked in the mirror at 297 pounds, disgusted with myself. I had let myself go from 175 pounds to 297, backsliding every day. That's when I made a decision. I wasn't going to be that person anymore. I was going to rebuild myself from the ground up. I left the military, walked out of Air Force, and found myself at the fucking bottom. Working at Eagle Avenue for $1,000 a month, man, I was scraping the bottom of the barrel. I had become exactly what life had beaten into me, what I had let happen. But one day I made a decision. I said, I'm going to die trying. I don't give a fuck what it costs me. I don't care if I break every bone in my body. I don't care if I lose my legs, if I have to go through hell and back. I don't care about the pain, the stress, none of that shit. This reflection in the mirror is going to change, or I'll die trying. I will not look at this weak-ass version of myself anymore. Stay hard. Every night I'd stand in front of that mirror, shaving my head, staring at the reflection of a man I fucking hated. That reflection was a constant reminder of everything I wasn't, everything I had failed to become. And yeah, some people can run from that shit. They can ignore it. But I couldn't. That voice was in my head 24/7, telling me you ain't shit. This is what you're going to be for the rest of your life. I had enough. I made the decision right then and there I was going to break myself down, completely rebuild, and fix this broken person, no matter what it took. That's why all the pain, all the suffering, it was worth it. Because I earned the right to be broken. Every scar, every wound, every broken bone, each one came from sacrifice, from my relentless pursuit to become something better. People ask, what does that mean, Goggins? It means I put myself through the fire every day to become the man I am. And I'm not telling anyone to do what I did. My life took me on a path that almost forced me to push myself beyond what most people can imagine. But it was necessary. I spent my whole life searching for strength because I was weak as hell. My dad, that motherfucker, beat the living shit out of me. Took every ounce of strength I had as a kid. I was strong once, but after years of protecting my mom and getting the hell beat out of me every time I stood up to him, fear took over. I was broken. So I spent my whole life searching for courage, searching for strength. Every man I looked up to had something I wanted: courage, power. I thought maybe if I could learn from them, I'd find it too. But nobody was going to hand me shit. That's when I realized we suffer every day. And if you don't, you better start. Because suffering builds strength. We do shit that sucks, not because we enjoy it, but because when life throws real pain at you, you'll be ready. That's how I started to rise up. I embraced discomfort. I made it a way of life. And through that, I found out what I was really made of. To become the man I wanted to be, I had to face the truth I was the weakest motherfucker God ever created. But I never blamed him for it. Instead, I decided to flip the script. I wanted to become the hardest motherfucker alive. Am I that? I don't know. But I had a goal. And that goal kept me going. Back when I was bullied, when I had no self-esteem, when I wasn't shit, I knew the only person who could turn my life around was me. And man, the only way to do that was to put myself through the worst shit imaginable, to endure more pain and suffering than most people ever will. I had to callous my mind, build a brain that could handle anything thrown its way. And that's what I did. It's not just about getting tough. It's a lifestyle. You've got to live this shit every day. Stay hard. Instead of slapping that fucking snooze button in the morning and lying there like a lazy ass, you get the fuck up. You don't feel like running? That's exactly when you lace up and run. You don't want to swim? Drag your ass to that pool. Your bed's a mess. You fucking make it. House looks like shit. You clean it up. Don't want to study? Tough shit you study. That's how you start to callous your mind, by doing the shit you don't want to do every single day. Yeah, it's going to suck. It's not supposed to be fun. You do something that sucks every day, that's how you grow. The only way you're ever going to reach the other side of this journey is through suffering. You've got to go through the fire. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. Some people get that, most don't. But if you're serious about this, you've got to see what your journey is and start. A lot of people live to 100, have decent lives, and never push themselves. Motivation, that's bullshit. It comes and goes depending on how you feel that day. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to sit on that couch with you and say, hey, it's okay. You're doing fine. Fuck no, you're not. When life gets fucking hard, when the storm hits and you're in the middle of it, you'll panic. You'll forget who the fuck you are. Because in those dark times, you're alone. You've got to remember that. When you're stuck in that sewer of self-doubt, fear, and weakness, no one's coming for you. It's cold, it's dark, and there's rats crawling around. That's your mind, man. And the only person that can pull you out of that shit is you. Not getting civilized is about keeping that savage mentality alive. That's the worst thing you can do, get comfortable. Get civilized. Total accountability means even when you think you've done enough, you keep pushing. I don't care if you've retired. There's always someone looking at you, judging you. I was the baddest motherfucker alive, but that doesn't just disappear. You've got to wake up every damn day and prove it again. Even when it feels good to slow down, you don't. You're never really retired because you're setting the example every day. Being civilized feels good. I get it, but it's a trap. Man, you've got to triple down on your weaknesses. Stop talking about what you're already good at. That's easy. Why don't you dive into the shit you suck at? That's where the real growth happens. You already know how to handle the good times. But life is about surviving and thriving in the times that suck. That's real life. 90% of life is going to be hard as hell, and maybe 10% will be happiness. Even the guy who looks like he's got everything money, a great woman, he's still struggling with something deep down. Trust me, there's always something gnawing at him, something he hasn't faced yet. So stop waiting for the storm to pass. You've got to run straight into it. Stay hard. You ain't grinding hard enough if you're still stuck thinking about some shit that happened years ago. If that's the case, you're being a straight up bitch to yourself. You're not out there squeezing every last drop of your fucking soul on the daily. When you're really grinding, you don't have time to give a shit about what someone else did to you. I don't give a damn about your monkey ass or what you said, because tomorrow I got to hit the grind again. And the next day, same fucking thing. Over and over, man. That's the life. I don't have time to store you in my hate bank. There's no hate here, man. You filter that shit out through the grind. You don't get it. There's joy in the grind. There's beauty in the suffering. It cleanses you from the inside out, man. We all got that soft part of us. But the grind, it makes you grow the fuck up. We all got two voices in our heads. I'm not saying you're crazy, but there's that easy voice, right? The one that says, I'm good, I'm at 90% of my potential, but really you're only hitting 20%. That voice coddles you, tells you it's all good. It's that comforting bullshit that says, it's okay, you're doing enough. That's where most people want to live, wrapped up in that warm, soft place. But that's not where the real growth happens. Then there's the other voice, the one you run from, the one that calls you out. It says, hey, you're slacking. You ain't doing shit. And you avoid that voice like the fucking plague because it's uncomfortable. But guess what? You got to turn that voice up if you want to level up. That's where the 40% rule comes in. It's like a governor on a car. You've got a car that can go 130, but the governor cuts it off at 91. You're cruising thinking, man, I want to floor it, but you can't. We do that same shit with our brains. The second we feel pain, discomfort, or suffering, we pump the brakes. We stop. But if you push through that, if you gain just 5%, 2%, hell, even 1% more, you break past that 40% limit. That 40 becomes 60. 60 becomes 80. And one day, if you're relentless enough, you might hit 100%. Most people never get there, though. They think they do, but they're fooling themselves. We all love that easy path, that 4-lane highway with signs and rest stops. It's comfortable. But the real warriors, they grab the shovel, they make their own path. Yeah, it's slower. Yeah, it's harder. But when you come out the other side of that motherfucker, there's something glorious waiting for you. And the best part, you can't even explain it to people who haven't been through it. They'll never get it. But you will. Everything I do, I ain't comfortable doing, but that's the point, right? You've got two fucking choices when you sign up for something. You can show up as a weak-ass version of yourself, just barely getting by, and that'll be your legacy. Or you can show up like a motherfucker hard as nails, and that's what people will remember. It's simple. If you're choosing to do something, you better fucking attack it. Because if you don't, that hesitation, that weakness, that's what they'll remember. I want to be remembered, man. You can hate me, you can talk shit, but one thing you'll never say is that I didn't give it my all. Too many people rely on others to get them through. They look left, look right, always searching for someone to save their ass. But if you can build total accountability in yourself, if you can stand on your own 2 feet, that's not being selfish, that's making yourself better. And when you become better, everything around you gets better. So here's the deal. I want you to see how far you can push. It's not about running a mile or 205 miles or whatever the fuck else. It's about pushing yourself past your limits. My biggest trophy isn't some medal or plaque. It's the fucking journey I put myself through. That's the real trophy, man, the struggle, the suffering. I don't care if one person reads my story or a million. It's not about the book, it's about the story behind the book. The pain, the grind, the shit you went through, that's what matters. And trust me, the bigger the struggle, the bigger the peace on the other side. A lot of you are broken in ways that aren't your fault. But guess what? No one's coming to save your ass. You've got to have the courage to go back to that dark place where it all started and fix what broke you. That's what I did, man. I was fucked up, but I went back and put in the work to fix it. And here's the difference between me and most people. I know how to self-motivate. Most people don't. They need the headphones, the hype, the music, the bullshit. But what happens when the music stops? When the crowd goes silent? It's just you and your own mind. And that's where most people crumble, not me. I've learned to thrive in that silence. I don't need music to hype me up. I never listened to music when I was running or suffering. I wanted to be fully present in the pain. I wanted to feel it. I wanted to embrace it. I wanted you to go home at night, thinking about me, knowing that while you're cozy in your warm bed, I'm still out there suffering, smiling through the pain. I wanted you to remember how bad you wanted to quit. And I wanted you to know that quitting was never even a fucking option in my mind. That's the dark side I've created. It's a place where I can go, where pain doesn't faze me. It's a twisted, evil place, but it's where I found strength that most people will never understand. You want to know what keeps me going? That dark side. And I'll tell you this, very few things can hurt me there. Your brain is the most powerful weapon you've got. I talk about this a lot because it's the truth, man. Your brain is stronger than any phone, computer, or any of the shit we've got nowadays. Those things are fine when life's easy, but when you're deep in the trenches, depression, loss, real life suffering, you can't Google your way out of that. You're alone. Completely fucking alone. Yeah, you might have a therapist or a best friend, but at the end of the day, it's just you and your brain. And that thing is talking all kinds of shit to you. It tries to pull you in different directions. And if you don't get control of it, it's game over. If your brain controls you, you're fucked. You've got to tell your brain exactly where you want to go. You have to dictate the terms of your life. If you don't, it'll take you down, man, drag you into dark places. That's why I've been on this mission to silence all the noise, because every single day the world gets louder and faster. And the more that happens, the more you lose touch with who the fuck you are. I trap my own mind on purpose. I put my phone away, I go dark. I do it to find myself again. I'm on this journey of life and we all have a different path, but you can't find your path with the world constantly screaming at you. I learned to find strength in misery, man. When everyone around me is suffering, feeling sorry for themselves, and they've got that weak mentality, I'm sitting there thinking, this is where I thrive. This is where I get stronger. It's twisted, but I found a way to use all that pain and drive myself further. Misery isn't something to run from, it's fuel. The more I leaned into it, the more I realized that people start to follow. When they see you standing strong in the middle of hell, they'll get their shit together and follow your lead. That's real power. But it all starts with you lasting just a little bit longer in the pain than everyone else. I remember a time I was done, completely dead at 70 miles. My body was wrecked and I thought I was at 100%. But then I went 31 more miles. 31 fucking miles past what I thought was my limit. I sat in that tub, my body broken, but it was the most amazing feeling of accomplishment I'd ever had. It wasn't the pain, it wasn't the suffering, it was that numbness that came afterward. I wanted to feel that numbness because I knew I had pushed beyond what anyone thought was possible. It sounds crazy, but in that moment of absolute pain, I found the most incredible sense of achievement in my life. That's what I want you to understand. Pain is where you grow. Suffering is where you find strength. When you're there in the trenches, don't run. Sit in it, own it. That's where you shine. You can't just fucking quit. This shit ain't a hobby. It ain't a joke. This is a fucking lifestyle. So every word you say to yourself, it matters. There's no ghost, no magical training plan that's going to keep you going. It's only you staring yourself in the face every damn day. Look, man, you've been grinding, busting your ass, and now you finally earned a seat at the table. This isn't just any table. It's where the best sit, the elite in your field. You got your letter. It's steak lobster. It's the top dogs in the room, all showing up dressed to kill. But here's the thing, you better not stop getting after it. You better keep hitting it hard, working out, pushing through all the bullshit. Don't just respect the event. Make sure when you sit down at that table, you don't ever fucking forget where you came from. Don't say a damn word. Just stay uncommon amongst the uncommon. You're never done. Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're fucking done. The moment you grab your phone, the second you turn on that TV, you're in a battle. Every morning, you're at war. And I want to win that war before the sun even rises. You got to do something you hate every single morning, something that makes you want to quit. Because that's how you build the mental armor to take on this weak ass world and all the insecurities and bullshit that it throws at you. I win every time I take another step. I remember thinking, maybe if I can walk one more mile, they'll ask for another. By mile 81, I was done, broken, but then my mind said, fuck that, we're not quitting. That's when you can find 40% rule. When your mind knows it's not going to quit, your body will adapt to whatever the hell is in front of it. I ended up running 20 more miles. I did 101 miles in 19 hours and 6 minutes. That one day, 19 hours? It wasn't SEAL training. It wasn't Ranger School. It wasn't Delta Force or any of that other shit I've been through. It was just 19 hours and 6 minutes that changed my life forever. It taught me that human beings are capable of anything. You don't need special parents. You don't need fancy tools. You just need to get the fuck after it. So man, don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done. Stay hard. I used to have that mentality of no one understands what I'm going through. But if you keep telling yourself that shit, you're never going to move forward. Everybody's going through something. So when you think you don't understand me, you need to stop feeling sorry for yourself. There's someone out there who does understand, but only if you're willing to stop hiding from your own pain and break yourself down to the core. Stop hiding. You think you're busting your ass, hitting the gym for a month, and now you're all pissed off because you ain't seeing results. You're walking around all poopy pants, feeling sorry for yourself. You worked out for 30 minutes, you feel fantastic, and then it hits you, you're not where you thought you'd be. Well, what the fuck do you expect? You're not putting in the real work. You got to do more. Stop lying to yourself that you're doing enough, because you're not. In life, it's never enough until you feel that overwhelming pressure. Like, damn, I'm outworking everyone. I'm outworking the whole damn crowd. You only get there when you're pushing past what everyone else is doing. And even when you feel like you're doing more, you got to do more. That's when you know you've put in the work. That's when you've earned it. This society we live in now, it's weak as hell. Everyone wants instant gratification, a pat on the back, just for showing up. Give them a medal for every little thing they do? Well, guess what? There's a lot of shit in life that doesn't deserve a pat on the back. You don't get one just for showing up. You don't get one for doing what you're supposed to do. A pat on the back comes when you overachieve. Life expects you to get up, work hard, be uncomfortable, and grind. No one's clapping for that. You shouldn't even want them to. You see, man, as humans, we're supposed to push ourselves to the edge. Let's say you're out in the woods, you see a tree off in the distance, and there's a dog chained up to it. You can tell that dog's domesticated, been fed and babied. But as you get closer, that dog snaps. It's angry. It's savage. In life, you've got to stay hungry. The hunger is what flips that switch from being domesticated to becoming savage. Stay hungry. We're all getting tested in life, man. My test might be different from yours, but we're all facing something. How you face that test, how you overcome that test is what determines the rest of your life. The one mentality you have to carry with you is this: no matter what's in front of you, you keep grinding. You don't stop ever. I'll never be in the Olympics. I'll never be a pro athlete. But you know what? I don't give a fuck. I still grind. I fail more times than I succeed, but I fail while I'm in the grind, while I'm doing the shit I don't want to do. And even after I fail, I keep pushing because that's who I am. So when you see me at 1 a.m. running down some dark alley, you better know one thing: I'm grinding. When that alarm clock goes off at 4 a.m., your mind's going to tell you, nah, man, not today. But that's when you look yourself in the mirror and say, this is what the fuck we do now. To get where you want to go, it's not about just physical pain. It's about the mental pain. It's about how many times you're going to do the things you don't want to do. How many times you're going to face that discomfort head on, no matter what. This bullshit about focusing on your strengths and ignoring your weaknesses, that's some weak-minded crap. You want to get better? Attack your weaknesses. Anyone who knows me knows that's my mentality. I don't believe in capping yourself, managing expectations, or saying, I'll just stick to what I'm good at. Hell no, that's how you stay soft. That's how you limit yourself. If I thought that way, if I lived by some bullshit expectation management, I'd be a 400-pound man stuck in some dead-end job, miserable, and never knowing what I'm truly capable of. I would have never been a Navy SEAL. I would have never gone to Ranger School. I would have never pushed myself to see what the fuck I'm really made of. But people want the quick fix, right? 6-minute abs, some magic pill to get them there faster. Sure, you might see some results, but they ain't permanent. Permanent results come from suffering. You have to suffer. When you quit, here's what happens: your mind shuts down. Once you tell yourself, I'm done, your brain says, all right, we're out, nothing changes. But when you say, nope, this fucking sucks, I'm drowning, I'm broken, but I'm not leaving, your brain has no choice but to expand. It's got to figure shit out. That's when you tap into parts of your mind you've never used before. You start unlocking compartments in your brain you didn't even know existed. But you don't get there by sitting on your ass in comfort, sipping water, talking about what you want to do. The 40% rule kicks in when you're suffering, when you say, I'm not quitting, and you force your mind to operate on a whole new level. And guess what? Once it gets used to that level, you level the fuck up. When shit gets tough, even the hardest motherfuckers out there forget how badass they really are. I've been through some serious shit in my life. When you're knee deep in the grind, you forget about all the hell you've already gone through. That's why you got to have the cookie jar. It's a reminder like, fuck, I can handle this. I've been here before. But you got to stop for a second and reach deep into that mental cookie jar. You got to look back and say, all right, motherfucker, I went through 3 goddamn hell weeks and I finished 2 of them. I went to Ranger School. I saw beatdowns. I watched my mom's soon-to-be husband get murdered. I saw a kid's head get crushed under a car. I went through all that shit alone. I had to remind myself of the power I got inside, the strength that's always there. Because in the darkest moments, we forget that we're built for this. We let that bad time take over our minds and wipe out who we fucking are. I visualize a lot. Always have. But in the beginning, it was fucked up. My mind would go to poor me, why me? And I started building this fake ass reality around the one thing I didn't have. That's what we do. We could have a great life, but we focus on the one thing that ain't perfect. We let that shit poison everything else. So instead of seeing how good things actually are, we obsess over that one piece of shit we're missing. I was the king of that shit. I had all this good around me, but I was locked into the filth. Even though I came from nothing, I had a future waiting for me if I just worked harder. But instead of chasing that, I kept living in the goddamn dirt. We all got this long ass list in our heads, man. It's a list of everything that scares the fuck out of us. Shit we don't want to face because it makes us feel small. My list, it was massive. I was getting beat by my dad, had a learning disability, couldn't even talk right because I stuttered like a motherfucker. We lived in a $7 a month place, broke as shit. I had all these demons dragging me down, making me afraid of everything. But I built a program in my mind, designed that shit myself when I realized that voice in my head was holding me back. We all have that voice, that little bitch voice telling us we're not good enough, reminding us of every fucked up thing from our past. Mine, it kept saying, you're scared, you can't handle this. Yeah, my dad beat the shit out of me. And yeah, I had a tough life, but now it's on me to own that shit. It's my responsibility now. What I realized was this: if I wanted to be a tough motherfucker, and that's exactly what I wanted, I had to face my own weakness head on. I saw myself as weak as soft. And the only way to kill that weakness was to start tackling that scary ass list. The shit that I avoided, the stuff that scared me, that's where the real change was going to happen. Because if I kept living in my little comfort zone, I stayed the same weak ass, lying, insecure, fearful guy I'd always been, just hiding in a comfortable life. So I made a decision. I designed a brutal, uncomfortable world for myself. And in that world, that's where Goggins was born. There's David Goggins, the guy everyone sees, but then there's Goggins. And I built that motherfucker in the fire in that painful ass place. Here's the thing, man. You got to put yourself in the moment. Over and over a million fucking times. Right now, I'm sitting here with Tom Ferry. My mind is with Tom Ferry. I'm not sitting here thinking, damn, I got to order more books, or I got to do this, I got to do that. No, man, I'm here. That's the first key to visualization. You got to shut out all the bullshit. Silence the chaos. It's hard as hell to do, but you got to do it. Your visual picture has to be sharp as fuck, no fuzz, no static. You got to see it like it's real over and over again. For me, I kept taking snapshots of hitting that 4,021st pull-up. That was the goal. The record was 4,020, and I wasn't stopping until I beat that shit. I visualized it again and again. But here's the thing, visualization is only part of it. I still had to grind. I had to do 4,020 pull-ups to get to 4,021. When I hit 2,500, my hands started ripping open. I saw that coming, so I was ready for it. I visualized the pain. I visualized how to handle it. I visualized my nutrition, my grip, every single detail, because you can't simulate 4,020 pull-ups without going through that shit mentally 1,000 times first. I'd walk in, grab the chalk, and I'd see everything in my mind over and over again. And here's the thing, man, it took me 17 fucking hours to break that record. 17 hours, man. So while I used to be loud everywhere I went, I put in my headphones, and for 17 hours straight, I listened to one song going the distance. 2 minutes and 13 seconds on repeat for 17 goddamn hours. And in that space, I was able to visualize every single rep. I saw where my hands needed to be. I felt every little pain. I noticed when my hands got sweaty. That awareness, it meant I could adjust. I knew when my skin was about to rip. So I'd wipe my hands and keep going. I was fully locked into the moment, totally dialed in, all because I'd seen it in my head a million times. That's how I fucking did it. Man, that voice in my head, I've had it since I was a little kid. That voice trained me, pushed me, and guided me to where I am today. And if you don't believe you're here for a fucking reason, life is gonna hurt like hell. I started looking at all the shit I went through like, okay, this is God putting me here and making me go through this hell for a reason. Now I see the hundreds of thousands of lives I'm changing because of the shit I survived. There's serious power in that. So as I went through this journey, I stopped with the why me, God? Why this? Why now? Bullshit. I flipped the script. I saw my life as the perfect training ground. God knew exactly what he was doing. He put me through every brutal situation possible so I could tell a story that people needed to hear. This wasn't some part-time gig. People don't get that. Look at Kobe Bryant, his last game, he dropped 60 points and walked the fuck off the court. No tears, no drama, no I'm gonna miss this. He gave everything. And that's where I'm at. I gave everything. People say, oh, you ran on busted knees, you taped up your feet, you had 2 heart surgeries, and you kept going. Damn right I did. That's what made me who I am. Everyone's searching for toughness, but they're trying to find it in a comfortable environment. News flash, you won't find toughness there. Nope. I had a mission. I got there. And my mother said, you can take a break now. Nah, fuck that. As long as my knees halfway work, I got to run. You tell me there's a chance I can't run no more. Hell, you just give me the excuse to stop. But as long as there's no excuse, I'm doing it. I was happy where I was because I gave everything. I didn't hold back. No regrets, none. People didn't understand me then, and they sure as hell don't understand me now. And I don't give a fuck. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm not a masochist. I'm not crazy. I'm not out here trying to hurt myself. People want to label me, box me in. Nah, man, I had something to do. Our minds are like a damn garage. Open that garage, and it's cluttered with all kinds of bullshit boats, kids' toys, junk everywhere. You can't fit your car in there, let alone anything else. But if you organize it, put everything in its place, suddenly you can fit 2 cars, bikes, whatever. That's your mind. People talk about discipline, determination, repetition, consistency. Yeah, I hear that. But we live in a world where everyone's obsessed with being comfortable. And then they wonder why they don't grow. They wonder why they run the second life gets hard. It's because everything in their life is built around the path of least resistance. There's no room in that cluttered mind for real discipline or consistency. They might show up once or twice, but then the mind kicks in, that messy ass garage takes over. And they're back to square one, flipping the circuit breaker every time shit gets hard. Your mind is like a fucking circuit breaker, man. You overload that shit and eventually it blows. That's how most people live, crammed with so much bullshit. There's no room to handle anything else. I talk about this all the time, about clearing space in your head. Until you clear out that mental garage, you don't have room for the disciplines that matter, waking up early, doing the hard work. Yeah, those steps mean something, but people don't get to the real issue, the dark matter holding them back. Look, man, people with a talent problem, they're the hardest motherfuckers to train. They're so damn talented that it's almost impossible to push them past that. Coaches struggle to take these fighters, athletes, whoever, beyond their talent. But that's exactly where they need to go, beyond talent. On the other side of talent is where the real growth happens. That's where the next level is. If you can drag a motherfucker into deep end while he's just dipping his toe in, trying to feel the water, and if he's mentally tough enough to survive down there, game over, because they live in the deep end, they thrive in it. When you quit, your mind shuts down. It's like, all right, we're done. No growth, no expansion. But when you refuse to quit, when you're drowning, suffering, broken, but you stay right there, refusing to leave your mind has no choice but to grow. It's like, shit, he's not going anywhere. So we better figure this out. That's when your mind expands, accessing parts of yourself you've never used before. And once you push your brain to that level, it starts to adapt. The question is, what happens when your talent runs out? Most people quit. They get to that point and think, why am I always messing up here? It's because they're relying on talent alone. And after that, they've got nothing left in the tank. I asked myself, who on this earth would still be going? And the answer, me. I got to be the hardest motherfucker out there. Is it true? Who the fuck knows? But at the time, it got me across that finish line. And you better believe I still hold on to that. I go dark. I put my phone away, cut out all the noise, and go deep inside myself. I do this a lot because I'm on a journey, and every one of us is on our own path. But when it's all said and done, when I'm in that pine box, I want to be able to look back on my life and be proud. I believe your spirit lives forever. It's too damn powerful to just fade away. When I'm gone, I want to know that I gave it everything, that I changed who I used to be, that weak, lying, insecure guy. This life is temporary, man. I want to be forever proud of the man I became. That's the mission. And when I die, I want to be able to look at myself and say, I'm fucking proud of what I did. But here's the truth, man. It's okay to be unhappy sometimes. It's okay to say, you know what? You got to get real with yourself first. No more bullshit. Ask yourself, who am I really? Not who you wish you were, but who you actually are. That's where accountability starts. You got to take your mind to those dark places. Those spots you've been avoiding? Yeah, those. Dig in deep. It might take months, hell, it might take years, but that's the only way you'll figure out your purpose. You can't find who the fuck you are with all the noise around you. The world's only getting louder and faster, and with that, we're losing touch with ourselves. And to find out what you're made of, you got to go dark. Shut everything out. We love being around people, love the noise, love the distractions, the parties, the bullshit. But guess what? It's okay to be alone. It's okay to feel stuck and say, man, I'm not happy right now. That's the moment you need to face who you are head on. You got to go into those locked up chambers in your mind and open them the fuck up. You've been hiding from that shit, but you need to confront it. Get in there, face that demon, say, what's up, motherfucker, and deal with it. It might take a long time, but once you figure it out, once you know your purpose, that's when shit starts to change. People love excuses. They like to say, I'm not good enough for this, or I wasn't born for that. Yeah, you might not be LeBron James, but guess what? Guts, willpower, and pure fucking grit can take you further than you ever thought possible. We're all capable of way more than we give ourselves credit for. We crave comfort. We love that person who says, hey man, it's okay, you're feeling down. Let's take a break, order some pizza, watch the game. That's the kind of shit that keeps you weak. My whole life I've been hard on myself, and that's why people hate me. But guess what? If I'm hard on me, I sure as hell don't give a fuck about being hard on you. This morning, man, I woke up feeling sorry for myself. That slack jaw, poopy pants mentality. Been traveling a lot, feeling run down. And yeah, I believe in recovery. I believe in taking time to rest when it's needed. But I don't believe in taking days off because you feel sorry for yourself or because you think you've earned it. Today's self-talk, it was garbage. That's the thing. Everyone's got this voice in their head. It tells you, hey, you've worked hard. You deserve a break. But the reality is, most of us think we're working harder than we really are. We think just because we got up early for a few days that we've earned something. Drop that entitled bullshit. You haven't earned shit. Trust me, most of us aren't working nearly as hard as we think. Stop waiting for someone else to save your ass. But man, learn to help yourself. That's the fucking first rule. Don't count on anyone else to give you a handout, a push, or even a pat on the back. You got to build the other voice inside your head, the one that fights back when the weak ass voice says, take a break. I don't give a fuck if it's running, swimming, studying, or whatever. If it ain't your rest day, don't act like it is. Start building that inner beast that shuts down the quitter in you. We all got one voice, but that voice, it's a bitch. You need to train the other voice. The voice that says, fuck that, I'm going to work. You think you're working hard? Nah, man, you ain't doing shit. You got to stop telling yourself you've done enough. In life, enough doesn't exist until you feel it deep inside, like, damn, I'm outworking everybody. Until you're dominating the field, you ain't done. Success ain't a straight path, man. It's a fucking maze. You think you got it figured out, then bam, you hit a wall. Turn the fuck around and keep moving. That's life. You got to stay hard and keep grinding. You know what? I get it. I'm on a 17-hour flight. And that weak ass voice whispers, hey, no one's going to know if you take it easy, rest up. But right after that, I hear the other voice, the strong voice saying, there's someone out there working right now. Someone's willing to sacrifice everything to be the best. What the fuck are you doing? There's always someone out there grinding harder than you. You might not know who they are, but they're out there. But here's the thing, man, instead of letting them haunt you, you make sure you become the ghost in their head. You put a face to that person in your face. When they want to quit, they should be thinking about you. That's how deep you got to be in the grind. Remember all the time you sacrificed. When your mind starts to break down, when you want to quit, stay fucking hard. The grind never stops. It's forever. As long as you're breathing, you better be getting better. You'll never arrive. You'll never be done. The fridge is never full, man. What have you done today? No one gives a shit about what you did yesterday. I used to be. Mentality is dead. It's about today. What are you doing right now to improve yourself? And man, lifting weights, people don't get it. It's not just about moving heavy shit. It's about the grind, man. When I hit the gym, it's reps, reps, reps nonstop. It ain't about doing a max lift once. It's about pushing your body and mind through the pain over and over. Supersets, push-ups, pull-ups, curls, whatever, lightweight for massive reps. That's how you get swollen in life. Not just physically, but mentally, stay hard. If all you ever do is bench press, and that's your go-to, what the fuck are you learning about yourself? Same goes for swimming. If all you want to do is swim cause that's what you're good at, what are you finding out? People talk about triple down on your strengths. That's some weak ass shit. Hell no, you got to triple down on your weaknesses. That's where the real growth is. You got to dig deep and figure out what you suck at, then attack it. I'm going to tell you straight, real life is going to suck 90% of the time. Only 10% will be those happy moments. You want to know how you get through the suck? You got to see the end before the beginning even starts. That's how I get through. When I was 300 pounds and trying to get into the Navy SEALs, I could see myself walking across that stage at 191 pounds. I wasn't even close, but I saw it and I kept putting myself there every single day. I imagined how fucking good it would feel to get that SEAL trident. That's what pushed me through the pain, through the suffering. I was willing to go through 18 months of hell for a 6-month program just to make it happen because I could see the end. But most people, they quit too damn soon. They don't see results after a few days or a week and they're like, I'm done. That's bullshit. The struggle is too real for most people. We live in a world where everything's instant. You can Google the best restaurant near you in seconds, but when it comes to real change, losing weight, quitting drinking, or whatever your battle is, it takes time, patience, and a fuck ton of setbacks. It's not going to happen fast. We're all tested in life, every single one of us. My test might be different than yours, but make no mistake, you're going to face yours. How you handle that test, that's what's going to shape the rest of your life. The mentality you need is simple. No matter what's in front of you, you got to grind. I'm not going to the Olympics. I'll never be a pro athlete. I fail at half the shit I try, but guess what? I still grind. I don't want to do half the stuff I do, but I get up and do it anyway. And when you see me out there at 1 a.m., running down some dark ass street, just know I'm grinding. When that alarm goes off at 4 or 5 in the morning and your brain says, nope, not today, you got to say, this is what we fucking do now. That's it. No negotiating. Because if you want to get to where you want to go, to be ready for the pain. And I'm not talking about just physical pain. I'm talking about the mental grind. The endless cycle of doing things you don't want to do over and over again. That's the real work. That's the price you pay. Stay hard. Tripling down on your strengths and ignoring your weaknesses, that's some bullshit. If you know anything about me, you know I think that's straight up crap. That's how people get weak. That's how they cap themselves, man. You keep feeding yourself this garbage about sticking to what you're good at, and guess what? You're putting a lid on your potential. You're managing your expectations. Fuck that. If I had lived with that mindset, managing expectations, not attacking my weaknesses, I'd still be a 400-pound dude, working some dead-end job, getting nowhere. I wouldn't have become a Navy SEAL. I wouldn't have gone through Ranger School. I wouldn't have done any of the shit I've done. We all want the easy way out. That's why shit like 6-minute ABS sells. Yeah, you might see some quick results, but they ain't permanent. Permanent results come from suffering. You got to embrace the grind. There's no shortcut around that. Back in the day, I was always fixing shit on the surface. If I wasn't good at something, I'd learn it quick and think, cool, I'm good now. But when life hit me hard, I'd fold. I didn't have the tools to handle real adversity. I'd be like, man, I thought I fixed this already. But no, I hadn't gone deep enough. I hadn't asked myself, why are you quitting? Why are you weak? What the fuck are you afraid of? That's why I kept quitting and starting over. I didn't know how to push through the hard times. And that's why I tell people, I'm not some theorist. I didn't read this shit in a book. I threw myself in the fire again and again. Like a sword, man. You keep putting it in the fire. You keep beating the shit out of it. And eventually you get something strong, something sharp. That's what I did to myself. I said, we can't quit. We got to figure out what's wrong with you, what's holding you back. And I kept putting myself back in the fire. Kept beating that sword. And over time, I started to feel it. My brain started to harden. That mental toughness started to kick in. The mentality you need in life is this: no matter what's in front of you, you grind. Man, I fail at most shit I do, but I still grind. I don't want to do half the shit I do, but guess what? I still grind. And if you see me out there running in some dark alley at 1 a.m., just know one thing: I'm fucking grinding. I know how to self-motivate. Most people don't. They need the music, the hype before the big game, the headphones blasting. But what happens when the headphones come off? What happens when it's just you and your mind? That's the real battle, man. I know how to win that. That's the hard part. But that's where the growth is. Stay fucking hard. Do I listen to music when I run? Hell no. I'm afraid of that. I'm up here living in my own head. Life made me this way, stuttering, struggling with reading and writing, being fat and full of insecurities. But guess what? We can't live like this. We can't live in fear, man. We can't live in judgment. You can't be afraid of what people are saying or thinking about you right now. Fuck that noise. We cannot be afraid of that. You start slacking on one thing: you're reading, you're learning, your workouts, your diet, and it all goes to shit. Trust me, it'll come back to haunt you. When you start noticing, damn, I haven't eaten right in weeks, I haven't slept right in forever. That's when it hits you. That's when things start to unravel. That's why I'm laser focused on my eating, my sleeping, my whole damn discipline. And when I start drifting from that, boom, it's a hard stop. You have to catch that shit early. What pisses me off most these days, seeing people die with untapped potential. They die thinking someone else is better than them, or they weren't born with the best tools. That's bullshit. You need to grind your ass down to dust. And when you're nothing but fine powder, you find a way to rebuild yourself over and over again. That's possible, but people don't believe it. When you come from a small town where most people stay stuck and all you want to do is become somebody, you've got to break out and let your mind breathe. Small towns, man, they close your mind up tight. Not everyone, but for a lot of people, it traps them. You have to get out. You have to create open-mindedness. You need space. Space to see the world for what it really is. A lot of the hate, the ignorance, the racism we see is because people never get out of their bubble. They never see new places, new people, new ways of thinking. That's why people judge so harshly, because their minds are closed to the reality of life. Period. I had zero self-esteem growing up, none. That's why discipline became everything for me. It takes nothing to be a loser. And that's why I hold people to a higher standard, because I know how little it takes to be a badass. You don't need talent. You don't need some innate greatness. You just need to grind harder than everyone else. And you can be a bad motherfucker. You've got to be open-minded to what's possible. Once you shut your mind off to the idea that something can be achieved, you've already lost. That's why I get fired up, man. If you're in a fight, you don't sit back, you attack. You keep attacking. The enemy needs to know you're not going to give up. You have to break the fucking soul of whatever is in front of you. That's the mindset. Stay hard. Here's what I figured out. I was never breaking the soul of anything in front of me. I had to find ways to break whatever was in my way: a human being, a challenge, an obstacle. If you keep attacking something relentlessly over and over, that thing doesn't want to stand there anymore. Nothing can hold up against someone who's relentless nothing. I'm the guy who doesn't talk about working hard. I just do it. I don't take days off. Period. Not with my workouts, not with anything. First thing in the morning, you've got to build your confidence. Every single day, you're either gaining confidence or losing it. You're never staying the same. So how do you build that confidence? It starts with looking at yourself in the damn mirror. Do you like what you see? That's the beginning of your day. If you wake up and you look fat, out of shape, or just feel like shit, that's how your day's going to start. That's why I get up and work out. Burn some calories, get those endorphins going, wake up the mind and body. Every day I run. Every damn day I work out. Most people set these finish lines, but me, I don't stop when I'm tired. I stop when I'm done. Usually I don't think, man, I just lace up my shoes and hit the pavement. But lately that little voice has been creeping in, whispering about how tired I am, how I could push the run back a bit. So you know what I did? I recorded that shit. I tape that internal voice. If you're ever out there feeling weak, tape yourself. Listen to the kind of soft ass excuses you're making. Hear what kind of bitch you're being. And then fix it. Stay hard. I'm not some theorist out here. I'm a practitioner. I put myself in hell on purpose, and I dissect what happens in hell. Because you can't figure shit out in comfort. You can't break anything down when you're chilling in 72-day weather. You've got to throw yourself in the fucking freezer. That's where you do the real work. Dissect your mind when all it's screaming is, get me out of here. And that's when you say, nah, 5 more seconds, motherfucker. 5 more seconds. And that's when you start to tear your mind apart and rebuild it stronger. This is what life did to me. I kept putting myself back in the freezer, back in the fire over and over. I beat the shit out of myself mentally and physically until something clicked. And this is where I ended up, I'm a believer. And I know some of you laugh because I curse all the damn time, but I don't give a fuck. And the voice in my head since I was a kid, that voice, man, it trained me. It guided me to the spot I'm in today. And if you don't believe you're here for a reason, life's going to wreck your ass. I started looking at my life as God put me here for a purpose. God knew exactly what he was doing. He didn't just put me here to coast. He put me here to go through some real hell. And now I can see it, man. I'm changing hundreds of thousands of lives by going through that shit. There's real power in that. So when I started this journey, I stopped asking, why me? Why the fuck is this happening? Instead, I flipped it. I saw my life as a perfect training ground. God knew exactly what he was doing. He put me in every shitty situation possible so I could tell the story that needed to be told. People don't get it when you're in the worst situation, when everything's collapsing and everyone's praying for it to end. That's when you realize the real fight begins. Time slows down. Everyone's got that look on their face like they're done. They want it over. But me, I flipped the script. I started playing mind games. I said, you know what? These motherfuckers think they're better than me, judging me. I looked at them and said, okay, you're going to judge me? This is what I'm going to do. You think you know how I'm supposed to feel? Fuck that. It's only day one, motherfucker, hour one. Let's go. I got my B crew fired the hell up. We're going to take their souls. That's what I told them. They had us doing some simple shit. And dudes were struggling. I looked at the instructors' faces and you could see it. They were cracked. I looked at my crew and said, we own their heads now. They'll be thinking about us tonight. It takes 1 second to steal someone's soul. And once you do that, you've got all the energy you need. That's what it takes. You know how it feels when you break someone. When you look in their eyes and you see it, they're done. They don't want to fight anymore. That's when you know I can go all fucking day. That's what taking souls is about. But you've got to have the will, the guts, the heart to keep going when you're completely fucked up. When there's nothing left, that's when you give more. Man, in life, most people think they're working hard, but they're bullshitting themselves. They think if they got up early for a few days, they earned something. Nah, man. Drop that entitled mindset. You haven't earned shit. You got to help yourself. Don't wait for anyone else to do it for you. The mind is a ruthless motherfucker. It's always working against you. It knows your weaknesses, your fears, your insecurities. It's always on time, every damn time, waiting to beat your ass down. It's got a tactical advantage over you because it knows you better than you know yourself. But that's where the real fight begins. Stay hard.